Hello.
Hello, teacher.
How are you today, Erika?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. Hello, Mario. Vitor is coming. Márcia is coming. So we are almost ready to start. Now, concerning yesterday's class, was there any doubt about it? Did you have any problem or no? Erika, Vitória, whoever wants to know.
No, I think it's clear, but I need to study more the T, D, and D.
Okay, that is very important. Victoria, you were here yesterday. Is there any question you would like to ask me about the class we talked about yesterday, or that's okay?
That's okay.
Very good. Okay, so we can continue and try to finish this topic, okay?
Okay.
Let me see. I think Marcia had some problems. She got in and then she left. Anyway,
Yes.
let me share. Huh?
Now, sometimes we have problems to enter because
Yeah.
it is it's a long time to enter.
Yes, I think it's because of security. Okay.
Oh,
I read an article that a lot of people were hacking into the Zoom sessions, understand? So they decided to increase the security.
oh,
Okay.
really? I don't know
Yes.
this.
Yes, you can maybe Google it, you'll find. Okay. People would hack inside of conferences, especially probably not. It's not my case. If anyone hacks in, he's only going to study English. Okay, but yes, many big companies were having business meetings using Zoom, and then they would hack in just to access, what the topics that were being discussed, what they were doing, and things
Yes.
like that.
Sometimes confidential.
Confidential information, which is like electronic espionage, right? And then
Right.
they had to increase. And I think by the end of the month, it's going to increase more again. Every day when I says here, let your clients aware that things are changing at the beginning of the month. So I think you will be required to enter with a passcode to access the classes, okay? So,
Okay.
yes, but we
All
haven't.
the times.
Yes. Anyway, welcome, Marcia. Now you're here, huh? Yesterday, went to bed, went to sleep, forgot about the class, huh? Can you listen to me? I can only see her smile, but I cannot listen to her. Hello, Marcia. Marcia. Hello, Marcia. Ah,
She disappeared.
yes, I think she is having problems, just like I was. Anyway, let's continue. So yesterday, I explained you what is probably the biggest headache for most Brazilians. It's amazing. Brazilians don't like using the present perfect because, as I said, they always think in Portuguese. And you would never, never, ever imagine saying in Portuguese, eu tenho comido, tenho bebido, tenho saído, okay? Like this construction doesn't exist. And then the Brazilians end up not using the present perfect. So probably the best way, if you are the type of student that thinks in Portuguese and then tries to construct the sentence, is what I told you yesterday. In order not to confuse, remember this. Eu vi este filme ontem. That's simple past. I saw this movie yesterday. It's different of já vi esse filme. That means one day in my life. has no connection with the time. Okay, it can be any day between the day you were born and today. Maybe you saw this movie this morning or last night or last week, or you don't remember. That's the idea of the present perfect, okay? So that's why we say, I've seen this movie, or I've seen this movie 3 times. Sometimes you say, hey, you want to go to the movies? What movie are you going to see? Ah, E.T. Oh, no way. I've seen this movie many times. Understand? It's not possible. It's not even possible to say I saw this movie many times because a repeated action requires the use of the present perfect. This is typical in the present perfect, not in the simple past. As the name says, a simple past. Okay, so usually I saw this movie when I was young. I saw this movie a long time ago. I saw this movie in 2005, if you remember the year. But the time must be known. When you use the simple past, you have to remember the time. Hello, Marcia. Are you okay now, or your internet is also bad today? Can you listen to me? Marcia, she's back. No, she's gone.
No, she's frozen.
She's back again. Marcia the Terminator. I'll be back. Okay. So anyway, when we use the present perfect, what is important is the experience, the action. I will never, ever ask you, oh, really? When was that? Because probably you say, well, I don't know. Understand? That is the point. When you remember the action and you remember the time of the action, perfect. You can use simple past. I remember the action. I don't remember the time. You have to use present perfect. So that's why the examples here are. I've seen this movie 3 times in my life. I've been here before. She hasn't finished her homework yet. Okay? When a teacher gives you a test, for example, you're having a face-to-face regular class, not online class. So the teacher says, you have 1 hour to finish the test. Start now. Then you start, blah, 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 blah. After like 50 minutes, the teacher is going to say, finished, but usually they only say finished, but it's not did you finish, it's have you finished? Because it's not important the time. I want to know if you have finished or not. I'm interested in the action, understand? So
Yes.
usually in class, we just say, finished, and everybody said, no, no, not yet, not yet. Okay? But the idea is this, have you completed the test? Have you finished the test? No, teacher, not yet. Okay? Another very common use for the present perfect, and probably one of the most common, is to talk about any action which started in the past, but is not over yet. For example, I know that Erika is from São Paulo. Vitória, I don't remember. Where are you from, Vitória?
São Paulo.
São Paulo too. Okay, but I have a question then for both Vitória and Erika. Were you girls born in São Paulo or just live in São Paulo now?
I was born in São Paulo and live here and
Okay.
have lived.
Yes. So I was born and live here. That's okay. So far, no problem. How about you, Vitória? Were you also born in São Paulo or you live there now?
Born in São Paulo.
Okay, excellent. So when I'm going to talk to you, if I want to know, for example, I'm going to write here on the screen for you. A typical question of the present perfect is, how long have you lived in São Paulo? In the case of Erika and Vitória, you could simply say, all my life. That would be a perfect answer. Understand?
Yes.
All my life. But if you wanted, the complete sentence would be, I have lived here all my life. Or I have always lived here. Right?
Right.
Now, it's not the case of Marcia, for example. Marcia, are you also from São Paulo?
Pardon?
Are you also from São Paulo?
Maybe
Where are you
in
from? What city were you born?
in 1st June.
No, what city? What city were you
City?
born? Yes. I was born in Piracicaba. Vitória
Ah,
and Érica were born in São Paulo. And you?
I was born in Londrina, Paraná.
Londrina. And
Yes.
where do you live now in Brazil? What city? Do you live in
Ah, in
Londrina or no?
Brazil, in São Paulo.
You see? So in your situation, you were born in Londrina, but now you live in São Paulo. So I
Yes.
could ask you, for example, how long have you lived in São Paulo?
And since 2007,
2007, okay?
during first no first years 15.
I didn't understand the last part. I understood that you have lived in São Paulo since 2007, yes?
Yes.
That part I understood. The other part, no. I've lived in São Paulo since 2007, okay? Or 2007.
Yes.
But then I didn't understand the second part. The first month?
No, is this 2007.
Okay. Marcela, hello, Marcela. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I'm okay.
Today, no problem.
I'm very, I'm very work for to do.
Very busy. Busy.
Busy. Yes.
Yes, I am
I
very busy.
next week
Ah.
I'm holidays.
Ah, okay. But where do you work in Belo Horizonte?
What? What?
Where? Do you work for a
Where?
company there?
In Savassi.
Ah, is it a store? Savassi? Savassi, as far as I know, is a street name, yes?
Yes. No, no, é o bairro.
The neighborhood.
Yes.
Neighborhood. Okay.
But I home office.
Ah, okay. But you have a lot of work to do at home, yes?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yesterday you couldn't finish the class, and the class was very important. But I have a question for you. Now you told me that you live in Belo Horizonte, but are you from Belo Horizonte? Were you born in Belo Horizonte or no?
I know from Belo Horizonte.
I'm not from.
I'm not from.
Where are you from? Márcia is from Londrina, Vitória is from São Paulo, Eric is from São Paulo, Mário I don't know, and where are you from?
Santa Maria do Suaçuí.
I beg your pardon? Santa Maria do what?
Suaçuí, é interior.
But what's the name again, please? I'm sorry, I couldn't understand very well. Santa Maria do?
Suaçuí. S-U-A-C cedilha U-I.
Oh, Marcela, what a shame, huh? You can spell it in English, huh? S-U-R-A. Okay.
Okay.
Cedilia is the same in English. Cedilia, they don't have it, but the word exists. Cedilia. But where is this? Is it in Minas?
Yes, Minas.
Okay. So you were born in one little town there, Santa blah, 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 but now you live in Belo Horizonte, yes?
Yes, yes.
So in your situation, I could ask you, how long have you lived in Belo Horizonte?
15 years.
Okay. You see, every time you want to talk about an action which started in the past and continues, you have to use the present perfect. I have lived in Belo Horizonte for 15 years. Okay?
Mhm.
Now,
Okay.
before that, you lived in this city there, Santa Rita, blah, 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 Suaçuí, yes or no?
Yes.
You
Uh,
see, if I want to discover the amount of time that you live there, I would ask you, how long did you live in Sua? Very long. Suaçuí. Yes?
UI.
Hã?
UI
Ou,
no final.
ou, e?
U. Não, é.
This?
U.
You,
Ai.
I.
Isso. Isso.
Suaco, Suí. Jesus.
Eu
Okay.
acho isso.
All right. I got it now. Okay. So how long did you live in Suaçuí? Okay. I could ask Marcia, for example, how long did you live in Londrina? Why how long did you live and how long have you lived in, for example, Belo Horizonte? Or I can ask Marcia, how long have you lived in Malta? Or how long, there are many possibilities in the case here. How long have you been to Malta? Okay? So how long did you live in Suaçuí, Marcelo?
10 years.
Okay. You see, if the action started and finished in the past, I use simple past. How long did you live in Suaçuí? Now, Marcia, how long did you live in Londrina?
Tem que calcular.
I have to calculate.
Until 20,
2006?
no, 19, 89, 99.
1999, yes?
Yes, I think.
Okay. Now, and how long have you been to Malta?
I until today.
No.
No,
Just say like I've
I see
been here. You can use for na
3 months.
for 3 months. Yes?
Yes, yes,
Okay. For 3 months. Or you could say since February. Yes?
yes, yes.
All right. Every time I use since is the starting point, February. When I say for is the duration of time for 3 months. Okay? So I can use the present perfect in many different situations. For example, we are talking about relationships. For example, if I'm talking to Erica. Erica, are you married or single?
I'm single.
But do you have a boyfriend or a crush or something like that? Today is very difficult
No,
to find relationships.
at the
No,
moment, no.
at the moment, no. But
No.
okay, yes, at the moment it's a little difficult. I agree. But in the past, did you used to have or have you ever had a boyfriend?
Yes.
Yes, of course, teacher. Oh, okay. Do you remember, for example, the name of your first boyfriend?
Oh
Or
my God.
impossible?
Yes, I remember.
What was his name?
Mauricio.
Mauricio. Okay. Oh, pay attention, girls, today. I think, yes, except for Mario, there are only girls in class. But our old student is not here today. So pay attention. Erica had a relationship with Mauricio in the past, right, Erica?
Right?
Today, no more.
Today, no more.
So imagine I want to talk about this relationship. I'm going to ask her, oh, really? How long did you go out with Mauricio? You see,
Ah,
did you go out with Mauricio? Why did you go out? Because Mauricio is past. No more. That's the point. That's what you need to understand according to the situation. How long did you go out with Mauricio? Do you remember, Erica?
I went out with Mauricio for 2 years.
Okay, that was a good relationship, 2 years. Okay, now if I change conversation and I start talking to Marcela, I know that Marcela has a boyfriend that is a good cook, right, Marcela? Marcela, are you working or you are with us? Ish. Victoria, do you have a boyfriend at the moment?
No.
No. Oh, that's terrible. Have you ever had a boyfriend? Or did you have a...
No.
No, no. How old are you now? You're young, I think, aren't you? Victoria?
Yes.
How old are you now?
18.
Okay, 18. And no boyfriends yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I cannot ask you the question. In relation to São Paulo, yes. How long have you lived in São Paulo? All your life, yes. Marcel is not back. Marcel is back.
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, Marcela, what is the
Mm.
name of your personal cook?
Vitor.
Okay, how long have you been with Vitor?
10 months.
Few months. Okay. Yes.
10.
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
10 months.
Okay. Good. You see, I ask you this: how long have you been? Because you still have a relationship with Vitor, right?
Right.
So that's why I have to use the present perfect. I cannot use the simple past or the simple present. If the
Mm.
relationship continues up to today, it's present perfect. Understand? Like Erica told me, her first boyfriend's name was Mauricio. She went out with Mauricio for 2 years, but today, no, no more. So if
Mm.
I want to ask her, I use the simple past. How long were you with Mauricio? How long did you go out with Mauricio? She told me, for 2 years, teacher. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Understand
Understand.
this? Like
Yes.
Marcia is from São Paulo, but at the moment she's in Malta. So I asked her, how long have you been to Malta? She told me, for 3 months.
Mm.
Two in
Understand.
Malta. Understand? Okay?
Yes.
Good. Any question about these or no?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Marcia, can you read the examples here, please? Oh, here. I have studied. Marcia, are you frozen?
Sorry. I have studied English for 3 months.
Or you could say, I have lived in Malta, or I have been to Malta for 3 months. It's the same case, right?
Right.
Observe, Marcia, that if you ever need to translate this, never translate eu tenho estudado. We don't talk like this, right? We just say, eu estudo inglês há 3 meses, okay?
Okay.
Now, Marcela, can you read the second example?
I have studied English since March.
Okay, it's the same case. That means that you still continue to study. Okay? Understand?
Okay.
I told you, and I repeat, also used to describe repeated actions in the past. Like, I've seen this movie 3 times. Okay? If I need to translate this, even if it's a past, I would only translate like this. Ó. Vi esse filme 3 vezes. Ou eu já vi esse filme 3 vezes. But never eu tenho visto. Nobody talks like this, not even in Portugal. Okay? Understand? That's why sometimes it's not possible to translate things word by word. If you do that, you'll never use present perfect. All right?
All right.
Now, pay attention to this next case, please. Remember when we talked about the use of the superlative? Understand?
Yes.
Remember the superlative, Marcia, Marcela, Victoria,
Yes.
Mari? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay. So imagine that you go to watch a movie, and then I ask you, how was the movie? Excellent, teacher, excellent. I think it was the best movie. When you say the best movie I saw in my life, it's not correct. Why not? It was the best movie I've seen in my life, not I saw. In Portuguese, probably, we would say, the best, o melhor filme que eu já vi. Or que eu, you see, and this probably leads you to think, so in English, the best movie I saw. It is not possible to say this. The best movie I saw, oh, teacher, I saw in my life. This sentence is absolutely wrong. Okay? Why is it wrong? Because when you say in my life, okay, what's the idea? The idea is from the day you were born until now. That's your life period, right?
Right.
So if your life period in my life is from the day you were born until now, it's not simple past. Simple past would be, for example, it was the best movie I saw last year. That's correct. Understand? The best day of the week. Oh, the best movie I saw last week. Because of the COVID-19 pandemics, I've been watching a lot of movies. So if I say, The Miracle in Cell number 7 was the best movie I saw last week, this sentence is perfect because I'm just talking about last week and not my life. My life is a period that is not over. Understand? So I have to say, this is the best movie I've ever seen, or the best movie I can even say I've ever seen in my life. In my life. Understand? So the use of this superlative requires the use of the present perfect when you are not using the superlative in a comparison. When you say, I'm the oldest of the class, that's okay. I'm the, I don't know, the biggest student in the class, that's okay. But if I am saying it's the best movie, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever met. Understand? Like sometimes you can ask a person, what is the best or the most expensive purse or the most expensive jeans you have ever bought? It's in your life. So it's necessary to use the present perfect and not the simple past. Can you understand what I'm trying to say or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Victoria, can you understand this? Marcia?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, Marcia, can you read one example for me, please? Let me erase the wrong ones here. The right one.
This is the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Excellent.
The
Okay.
next thing?
Yeah, it's okay. Just go ahead.
Okay. That was the most expensive car I have ever bought.
But,
Bought.
okay. And now, for example,
Okay.
number 3. Erica, can you read that example?
She is the most beautiful girl I have ever met in my life.
You see? So every time you want to give the idea that is the best, the most expensive, the most comfortable, the biggest, okay? You have to use the superlative if the idea is in your life up to now, from the day you were born up to now, okay? Then
Okay.
we need to use the present perfect. This is also very common in proficiency tests, okay? Because in many languages, they accept you to use the simple past, okay? But in English, no. So the formation, as I have already told you, is I, you, we, and they have, and then you need a verb in the past participle. And for he, she, it, we use has plus a verb in the past participle, okay? Now, in this case, when you have a sentence in the present perfect, what happens? Have is an auxiliary verb. So if you want to ask a question, if I say, for example, I have 2 brothers. In this sentence, how many verbs do I have?
Only one.
Only one. Oh, I have. So if I only have one verb, it is not possible to be an auxiliary verb, okay? Because it's the only verb. So if I want to ask a question here, I say, do you have 2 brothers? Right? But when I
Right.
say, I have been to China. Opa, China. China, I don't know what's that. China. Okay. In this case, have, is it the only verb?
No.
No. Here I have
Been.
been. So the main verb is been, not have. Have is an auxiliary verb. So if I want to ask a question, I say, have you been to China? Understand? It is not necessary to use do or does or did. I use have. Okay? Understand this?
Yes.
And if I want to make a negative, very easy. I only say I haven't. And in the case of he, she, or it, he hasn't seen this movie. Because in this case, have is an auxiliary verb. Maybe Marcia can tell me, can confirm, I don't know. In England, only in England, I don't know about Malta, okay? But in England, sometimes have is always used as an auxiliary. So it's possible, for example, in England, I have heard this many times. Have you a cigarette to spare? Or have you some change to spare? Have
What does
you
spare mean, teacher?
change to spare? Spare, in this case, is used to give the idea of the verb to give, to share, to share.
Okay.
Yeah, this is used many times on the streets or in a club. Like in a club, you're smoking a cigarette. Somebody approaches you and says, "Hi, have you a cigarette to spare?" Okay. Actually, he's saying, "Can you please give me a cigarette?" It's the same. Understand? All
Thank
right.
you.
But
All
I
right,
don't
thank you.
know, Marcia, in Malta, do they use questions like this? Have you a car or have you a computer? Or they say, do you have?
I don't know.
You never heard anybody asking you?
No,
Like, no?
not yet.
Okay. Yes, because it's common. I'm going to tell you, I don't really know, because in the United States, this construction doesn't exist. And I grew up in the United States, not in England. But I have been to England many times because my children have lived in England, all right? So it was very common for me to listen people on the streets, especially on the streets. So I don't know if you ever go to a university there, this is even acceptable, understand? But in the case of the present perfect, the auxiliaries have, so no problem. So I made here a list of things to explain to you before I finish this class off. What you need to remember is, if the verb is regular, the past tense and the past participle are the same. So I walk, I walked, I have worked. Okay? I live, I lived, I have lived. So what I need to use in the present perfect is this third column. Okay? It's not the first, not the second. It's only this third one. Okay? So verb to be, for example, was and were. And then the past participle is been. Cut is cut, 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 because it's an irregular verb. Do is do, did, done. Go is go, went, gone. Okay? Now, what I want you to observe, the past tense of regular verbs is the same, no difference. But if the verb is irregular, I'm sorry, but you have to memorize, okay? So, pay attention here. Compare the following situations to understand better the difference. I'd like everyone to participate and read two examples. One in the simple past, one in the present perfect. And then you can compare the idea to see if you understood or not. Okay? Erika, could you start, please? Could you read the first one for us?
I saw that movie last night.
Okay.
I've seen that movie.
Now, can you notice what is the important difference or no?
Yes.
What is, Erika? Can you explain to me?
In the simple past, I saw the movie last night, yesterday.
The time is definite.
It is definite. And I've seen that movie. I've seen that movie in all my life.
One day in
I
your
don't
life.
know when.
That's it. Please try to remember this. This is the most important thing you can remember in English. When you use the simple past, usually you have to say the time. If you don't say it, I'm going to ask you, really? When? Last night. Is it good? Yeah, it's very good. But when you say, I've seen that movie, I will never ask you when, because you are already telling me you don't know, you don't remember, or this is not important, right? Victoria, can you read the second example?
I'm met Mary last weekend. I've met Mary before.
Can you explain to me what is the difference between the two examples?
In the simple past, I know the time. In the present perfect, no.
Yes, the time is not clear. It's before, one day in your life. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Marcela, can you read the third example?
I went to New York in 2016.
16.
I've been to New York.
Okay. Can you see the difference?
Yes. First, in simple past.
What is necessary to do? To mention?
Que tem a data certinha e o outro você não sabe.
Ah! We're going to cut your microphone in English. The first one, you have the time. And the second one?
Present perfect, que você fez, mas não lembra quando.
In English.
Ai, teacher, I don't know.
Ah, student. Yes, you know. In the
You,
second case, the time is important or the time is not important?
what?
In the second case, here, I've been to New York. Time is important or not important?
Não importa.
That's it. That's what you need to remember. Understand?
Yes, okay.
Oh, imagine a situation like this. For example, there is no Victor in your life, okay? You are in a club alone with a girl that is your friend, all right? And then walks in a very good looking boy or a very good looking man. And then your friend says, oh my gosh, now I believe in miracles. And then you say, why? Look at that angel over there. And then you look, and when you see the guy, when you see his face, you remember that one day or one night, I don't know, in a club, you danced, you kissed that guy, understand? Then
Yes.
you just tell your friend, oh, I know him. Okay, for example, I've kissed him. And she's going to say, you are kidding me. You see, she's not going to ask you, when? Because you already told her that you don't remember. Understand? It's the typical, já beijei ele. Understand? It's one day in your life. So that's why we use the present perfect and not the simple past. Simple past would be, for example, I kissed him last night. That is simple past. Okay? Marcia, can you read the next example, please?
I read this
I
book.
read. It's in the past. No.
I read this
present.
book last year.
Okay.
I read this book.
Can you see the difference?
The simple past, there are a time.
There is a time expression.
There
yes.
is a time.
And the present perfect.
Present perfect, no.
No, that's it. So as you can see, and I included many examples here. Oh, I tried paella last month. I've tried paella, okay? They say paella in English. In Spanish, it's paella, okay? But in English, they say paella. I saw her at work this morning. This morning is possible. Today, never. But this morning is possible because now it's almost 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I've never seen her at work. I went to Europe in 2008. I've been to Europe many times. You see the difference? And when it comes to the second idea, we have here, Erica, can you read the first example for me in the two columns, please?
Mary lived in São Paulo for 5 years. She doesn't live there anymore. Mary lived in São Paulo for 5 years. She still lives there.
Yes, but it's very important to pay attention to observe the contraction here. Mary's lived in São Paulo for 5 years. Okay?
Okay.
If you don't pronounce the contraction, I'm going to understand it in the simple past. Mary lived. So you have to say Mary's lived in São Paulo for 5 years. Or, for example, I lived in Europe for 2 years. That's in the past. I've lived in Europe for 2 years. That's in the present perfect. Understand the difference? I continue to live. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So please, just review these examples. There are many. Okay. That book was very good. That's the best book I've read. That's the third idea. And then, of course, there are several examples and some exercises. Try to do the exercise tomorrow. We'll discuss the exercise with you. And then we'll change topics again. All right?
All
I
right.
hope you were
All right.
able to understand today's class, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye now. Have a nice evening. Okay?
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow, no, né, teacher?
What?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow?
no,
What?
né?
Tomorrow? No, I'm crazy. Yes, every day. Tomorrow is Saturday. Yes? No.
Okay.
See you Monday. Have a nice weekend. If I give you a class tomorrow, my wife will kill me. Okay? Bye-bye, girls. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Have a nice weekend.